I'm feeling anxious, baby, 알아줘. 바라가 소리 나, my baby, I don't wanna know. 우리의 미래 모래처럼 몰라 where it goes. 난 아직 준비 안 했어, yeah, 나 알려줘. Yeah, I'm feeling anxious, baby, 알아줘. 바라가 소리 나, my baby, I don't wanna know.
Hi, and welcome to Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim. Thanks for being here. I always appreciate the time that you and I get to spend together, so thanks for tuning in. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be going over my top 10 daily trainers for 2021. Now, I did purchase all of these shoes with my own money. The total cost for all of them was $1,720 US. And if you want to check out a full review of any one of these shoes, you can find that on the homepage of the channel. Also, if you're new to the channel, I post running shoe reviews, comparisons, and shoe battles weekly, but I also like to post other videos about running as well. So if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos about running, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. So you might have noticed that the shoe shelf behind me looks maybe a little bit more bare than it normally does. So typically you've seen it in videos in the past where I have mountains of shoes just coming off the ends, and that's really all of the shoes that I had purchased for 2021 to review. But I pared it down to my top 10 daily trainers. And for a daily trainer, what I'm talking about is the workhorse of your shoe rotation. So those shoes that you pick up 80% of the time to get your workout in. So not the max cushion shoes, not necessarily even your speed day shoe or those shoes that you wear on race day, but that workhorse of the shoe that you're going to pick up most of the time. And you can see that I've ranked them starting up here at the top and going across in order and then all the way over here to the end. And then I have a few other shoes that I want to mention as well that didn't find their way into the top 10, but I still think that they're worth mentioning. So we've got a lot of shoes to get to, so let's just get right into it. I'm going to start with my number one pick, and that's going to be the New Balance Rebel V2. For the Rebel V2, the reason that it's number one on my list is because it's really the only daily trainer for 2021 that had that wow factor for me. It reminded me a little bit of the first version of the Novablast when I put those on my feet and took off to run in them. You just kind of get that sensation of, wow, these feel terrific. Same feeling that I got in these. They're really special, I think, and just how they feel underfoot. That fuel cell foam is really soft, very responsive. These are really a lightweight daily trainer. I love the fit of the upper. It's highly breathable. The one downside, I would say, to this, or the one thing that you might want to consider, however, is that if stability is an issue for you, these might not be a great fit. But if you solidly, if you land pretty solidly, either flat-footed, on that midfoot or up to your forefoot, these feel really terrific, and I always enjoy picking them up. So because they have that wow factor, and I run, on average, it's not unlike, it's not uncommon for me to put, 10, 11 miles in these at a time. So, I think you could run easily, a half marathon in these and feel really comfortable and lightweight. And because they are so lightweight and they feel pretty snappy to roll through on your gait cycle, these are a shoe that you could pick up on race day for a 5K, 10K, that kind of thing, or up to a half marathon. And I think you do really well. So you don't necessarily need a carbon plated shoe to run fast on race day. I love the Rebel V2, and that's why it's my number one pick for a daily trainer for 2021. So moving on to number two, it's the Hoka Mach 4. I absolutely love the fit of these shoes. It has a great fitting upper, probably the best fitting Hoka upper that I have owned. They just feel terrific. Again, lightweight, breathable. The reason that it's number two is I really enjoy the ride of the midsole. It has a dual density foam, so it has a ProFly foam there up at the top, and it has a more conventional, a little bit more durable EVA foam there on the bottom layer. And the thing for me is that these are by far the smoothest running shoe that I have. So as I move through my gait cycle, they just feel really terrific, almost like pedaling a bike. And I've used that analogy before in the past, but it really does hold true here. They've got the early stage meta rocker. Everything about this shoe just feels comfortable. It's definitely not a max cushion daily trainer. I'd say it kind of falls in that bit of a responsive ride to them, but because they're so smooth, it just feels really comfortable to run in. So number three is the Asics Novablast 2. The reason it's number three and maybe not number one like it was last year in the first version of the shoe is it lost some of that wow factor. The first version was just really unexpected, but a big pleasure to run in. They were soft, but yet responsive. This still has the same type of foam, the FlyKnit Blast midsole foam that they use, but they've reconfigured maybe the geometric shapes and designs that they cut into the foam. It's a bit more dense, so you don't have that inward roll, and that for me is a good thing because they do feel much more stable on foot. They're not quite as soft or cushioned, and they don't feel quite as fast, I think, as the original version of the shoe. But they are number 3 for a couple of really good reasons. I do still enjoy the FlyKnit Blast midsole foam, but I enjoy it more in the version 2 up in the mid to forefoot of the shoe. It feels really comfortable, and I absolutely love the fit of the upper. Now, it fits my foot shape perfectly. It's wrapped snug around here. It's got plenty of room up there in the toe box. Not to mention, I think that these look really terrific. And I do wear these around for more than just running. A lot of times, if you guys follow me on Strava, you know that sometimes I'm on the elliptical machine at the gym, especially if I'm hurting or trying to recover from an injury or just want to give my legs a little bit of a break from pounding the pavement. I'm oftentimes wearing the Asics Novablast 2 on that elliptical machine. So I feel like they're a pretty, versatile shoe. They're fast enough that you can wear on, some of those speed workouts. They're not necessarily a speed day shoe, but I found it was pretty easy to pick up the pace in these as well. So they're number 3 for my daily trainers of 2021. Number 4 is the New Balance 1080 V11. I love this shoe to run in. Got that fresh foam midsole here that's super soft and comfortable to run in, but not so soft that you feel like you're getting caught up in the mush. I still feel like I'm getting plenty of bounce to help move me through my gait cycle. I like the form fit of the upper up here in the toe box and across the midfoot of the shoe. I do get locked in pretty easily across that midfoot section. The only thing that's kind of holding it back, at least in my opinion, is I don't care for the heel counter on this shoe. I don't like that heel design. It doesn't really have much in terms of padding. It really has 0 padding around the heel collar and the tab of the shoe. So for me, if I'm wearing, maybe a no-show sock, this kind of rubs up on my ankle just a little bit. As long as I'm wearing taller socks, it seems fine. But that's really the only thing that's kind of holding this back from maybe moving up a spot or two, because I found these to be really comfortable to run in. It doesn't really matter the length of the run that I was going on. So shorter run, longer run distances, 10 plus miles or so, these still feel really comfortable at the end of that workout. Number 5 is the Hoka Clifton 8. Now this is a really soft, comfortable shoe to run in. It kind of borders on that max cushion daily trainer feel to it. In fact, a lot of runners have commented that they felt like the Clifton 8 was softer than the Bondi 7, which is their Hoka's max cushion shoe. So it offers a lot of soft, comfortable miles for you. It's got that compressed EVA foam from the heel all the way up through to your toe. It's got an early stage meta rocker to help you flow through your foot strike just a little bit quicker, a little bit more smoothly. Maybe not as smooth as the Mach 4 that we looked at just a few minutes ago, but plenty of comfort. This version of the shoe is a little bit wider, a little bit more accommodating. It has a little bit of stretch to that upper. Not so much that you feel like that it's sloppy on foot, but enough to give you plenty of room to be able to splay your toes, especially if you're trying to pick up the pace. Good lockdown feeling across the midfoot section of the shoe. Has plenty of rubber on the outsole to help protect that soft EVA foam, which is why it's number 5. The Reebok Forever Float Ride Energy 3 is number 6. I do really enjoy these shoes. They're a lightweight daily trainer that is affordable. They're really good value for the money. They could come in around $100 US or so. I think you can find them probably for a little bit less right now on sale. I enjoy the ride, the Forever Float Ride name. I think that really does apply here. You do feel a bit like you're floating across the ground. I enjoy that feeling. They're a lightweight, highly breathable shoe, easy to get locked down across the midfoot section. The only thing that kind of holds it back and puts it in the number 6 spot is I wish that maybe there was a little bit more of that foam underfoot, and it could be just slightly more aggressive as I roll through, maybe with that curvature up here in the forefoot. These feel terrific for that 6, 7, 8 mile range. After that, I start to feel the ground a little more than I would like to. But if you enjoy having ground contact, you might not have that issue, and these might be your number 1 daily trainer. That's awesome. Any comments that you guys have, be sure to put in the comment section below as I go through these shoes. Whether you love them or hate them, I always enjoy hearing what you guys think. But this is number 6 on my list. So next at number 7 is the Puma Velocity Nitro. I enjoy running these shoes. There's a couple of things that I think are holding it back from moving up on the list. One of them is that it's not a very aggressive rocker up toward the forefoot of the shoe, and I do enjoy a bit more of a roll through or a little bit more curvature up there. But I like the Nitro infused foam to run in. It's really soft. That heel clip does add some stability. And for someone like myself who tends to over-pronate, I always enjoy a little extra stability in my shoes. And the other thing that I like about these shoes is the Puma grip. It seems to do a really good job keeping me tight to the road when I'm out running. They're a comfortable shoe to run in. Like I said, the only thing that's really holding me back is I wish that they were just a little bit more aggressive up there in the forefoot. The upper is nice. It's breathable. It's lightweight. I enjoy that. I do want to say, though, that I wish that I would have ordered a half size down. I typically wear a US men's size 9. I could have easily wore 8.5 in these because, again, they were just a little bit long. They felt fine in terms of the width, but lengthwise, maybe a half size down for me. At number 8 is the Nike Vomero 16. Now this shoe features their ZoomX foam as the core of their midsole foam, and they still have an air zoom unit up here in the forefoot of the shoe, so they got a couple of different pieces of tech going on here. Give you a little extra bounce with that ZoomX, as well as some pop off the toe with that air zoom unit up in the forefoot. It has a nice solid lockdown feeling across the midfoot section of the shoe with their banded system. I do like that. It does feel like those bands just kind of, wrap around and hug your foot so that you can stay in place. I always felt secure in these shoes all the way back to the heel counter. Never had any heel slippage in these shoes at all. Always felt really terrific. I think they might have overdone it a little bit with the padding around the heel collar and the tab. I don't think that they need quite so much. They do have a nice solid heel clip back here in the heel counter as well to help provide a little bit of stability. It's a big wide landing platform up in the forefoot of the shoe. It gets pretty narrow, but I typically do like that narrowness in the midfoot section because I feel like I can get more locked in and secure. It widens out just a tad back here in the heel, but that's pretty common for the Nike design of their midsole and outsole of their shoes. The one thing that's kind of holding this shoe back for me is the ZoomX foam. It's not the ZoomX feel that you get out of the Nike Next Percent 2, but I would like to feel a little bit more of that. So if they can find a way to take that core ZoomX foam and unleash it a little so we get a little more energy return in the shoe, I think it could easily move up to a number 1 spot. The Nike Pegasus 38 is number 9. Now here we've got React foam from the heel to the toe. They got a pretty aggressive heel bevel back here, so if you're a heel striker, I think that feels pretty smooth as you move through your gait cycle. They have an air zoom unit up here in the forefoot that gives you a little bit of pop off the toe. Now that air zoom unit for me is both a positive as well as a bit of a negative. It's a positive when I'm running it for that 5-6 mile range or so because it feels pretty good for that. But beyond that, I start to feel that air zoom unit maybe a little more than I would like to, and it becomes somewhat uncomfortable when I get up around that 8 or 9 mile range. So for shorter distances, these shoes feel really comfortable. For longer distances for me, not so much. Now last year I did have the Pegasus 37 up in my top 5 shoes, but that was a big part was the upper. And the reason that these lost a few points this year is this upper doesn't fit me as well as the 37 version of the shoe did. It's a different material altogether. This is a bit more accommodating. So if you have a wider foot, I think that these are probably going to fit really terrific, and you might enjoy this fit over last year's version. Last year fit a little bit more snug, and for someone who has a narrow foot like me, I just prefer that. And then rounding out my top 10 is the Hoka RunCon 3. So yes, Hoka has 3 of my top 10 shoes in the list this year. This is a really lightweight daily trainer. If you wanted to pick this up on race day, I think you could, especially for maybe a 5K up to 10K, somewhere along those lines. It's a more responsive shoe, so it's not nearly as cushioned as the Clifton 8, for example. But Hoka does do a nice job with that compressed EVA foam. Just feels comfortable to run in. I like the wider platform that Hoka typically has in their shoes. For someone who overpronates like I do, I can get away with running in some neutral shoes when they have a bigger or wider landing platform. They did make this groove pretty wide back here, and I do feel like there's a bit of a squish factor in these, especially I think if you're a heel striker, but if you're a mid to foot striker, these feel pretty comfortable to run in. One of the things that I do enjoy about Hoka, or another aspect of Hoka shoes that I enjoy, is look how high they bring that EVA foam up onto their upper. It kind of feels like sitting in the bucket seat of a racing car. I've made that comment before in other Hoka shoes that I've reviewed in the past, but it does feel really comfortable to run in. And again, for someone that overpronates, it gives a little bit of stability for that inward roll. These do feature a bit of a swallowtail heel design, much like what they had in the Mach 4 that we looked at earlier. So overall, these are a solid daily trainer, which is why they came in at number 10. And then a couple of shoes worth mentioning that didn't make my top 10. The first one is the Nike React Infiniti FlyKnit 2. Now, I enjoyed the upper on this. I love the fit. It's really nice and snug. It has those fly wire system there across the for the lace enclosure system. Gives me a nice solid lockdown feeling. Never had any heel slippage. Now this shoe is a bit of a stability feel to it. It's not a stability shoe, but it has a lot of stability features. And that's part of the reason it's kind of holding it back a little bit for me, is they brought this clip up quite far around the heel on both the medial and lateral side of the shoe. And when I'm cornering, it kind of digs into the side of my foot a little bit, so it's a little bit uncomfortable. And the other thing that's holding it back for me to maybe breaking into that top 10 is I'm flat-footed. And if you have a high arch, you might absolutely love this shoe. It might be perfect for you, but this has a really high arch. And so for someone that has flat feet, that can get a little bit uncomfortable after a while. Another shoe that I think is worth mentioning that falls within that honorable mention, so not quite in that top 10. And it's one that I think has polarized a little bit of runners here, especially if you're a Boston fan. So here it is. It's the Adidas Adizero Boston 10. Now, this shoe does feel a little bit like running in the Adios Pro, and I think that that's what it was intended to do, is to give a training companion for their super shoe. It didn't quite get there, though. It's not as cushioned as that maybe I would like it to be. I do enjoy that Light Strike Pro foam, and those energy rods, they do give you a bit of a nice roll through or a little bit of pop or energy as you move through your gait cycle, but it's still a little clunky for me, and it's just a little bit heavy. And then the last shoe I wanted to talk about is the New Balance 880 V11. Now this shoe features their fresh foam midsole material. It has a nice comfortable upper. I would say that it's breathable, but not overly so. It's got a cloth type feeling to that upper, so it's really comfortable on foot. Snug lockdown feeling across the midfoot section of the shoe. It's got plenty of padding around the heel collar and the tab. It's got lots of rubber on the outsole, so plenty of durability. So you can get a lot of miles out of these shoes. The one thing that held it back for me from breaking into that top 10 is I do typically like a little more cushion in my run experience. But, if you enjoy having that road contact feel, or maybe just a more responsive feeling underfoot than I do, then these could easily be in your top 10. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim.
Yeah, I'm feeling anxious, baby, 안아줘 바라카 소리 나 my baby, I don't wanna know 우리의 미래 모래처럼 몰라 where it goes 난 아직 준비 안 됐어